It's time to gather around the radio for another episode of Comic.Church. Hosted by Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbro, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. Broadcasting live from the K-Talk Studios, KBJA 1640 AM, and streaming live with video on Facebook. And now, Comic.Church.
Hello, and welcome.
We're all here.
We are all here.
And Sean's son.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
A nice family show today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also nice, chilly. Winter decided to show up today, so nice, cold, cloudy,
These are
wet.
almost the days that I like because it's not wet.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's
By the time we finish the show, we're going to be having some nice rain.
because I like.
I'm surprised it's not Wednesday.
Oh my gosh! the weather though, because I don't like direct sun, even though
Does that hurt your face?
it does. It hurts my face. It hurts my eyes. Who knows? Maybe I am a vampire. But I like a little bit of overcast. Yeah, maybe I would like Forks, Washington, and be up there with the new Batman, Edward Cullen. No, but yeah, it's really nice to be back in the studio. It's been 2 weeks since I was out and everything.
And Sean, you've got your son here. What's your son's name?
I do have my son. This is Porter. Porter, say hi and.
Hello, everyone. I am Porter. Hi. And I like saying puns.
Yeah, he's on this punny weekend where he's keeps doing all these puns and stuff. But
Well, welcome to the fortress of spirituality here at Comic.Church.
yeah, he and I have been doing a little bit of the research and stuff for the show today. Kind of looking over some videos and watching some movies and stuff. And
The theme will be.
yeah, so
Careful on the banging.
the bang. Remember? No, so I mean, it's kind of nice. It's good to be in the studio. What have you guys been up to? I mean, before we get into
I've just been waiting for you to get back.
Yeah, like
That's
our
all.
lives were on
Yeah.
hold.
We
we
waited
could not-
this entire
I
time.
mean, we tried to do a show, but with two ADD guys, it was just like
I kept getting calls
it,
all over
it
the
drew
place.
it drew on muscle relaxers.
yeah, yeah. I've been unfortunately on those horrible things. I turn like into a zombie.
Oh yeah. That's how medication gets you.
But what are your options? Like be a zombie or have your back in spasms to the point that you can't breathe and like you're contemplating whether or not to go up to the ER or not. So it's like
Do it.
I'll take one of those little white wonder pills.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, I
Take him correctly.
Yeah, I'm taking them as prescribed.
It made for a very good reality and multi-dimensional universal.
I mean, really, what is reality?
Consciousness episode?
Yeah. Well, I was listening to one of the shows for like 10 minutes before I got on my plane. So I do want to go back. And that's where it's nice because we can always go back. You can always go back and follow us, find us on Spotify, Apple, iTunes.
Yeah,
everything.
if you're not listening to a show, you're not trying. We put it in so many places. It's like,
Yeah. And we made a prophecy last week that actually came true this week that we can talk about eventually. There's a certain hashtag that we talked about, and
well, it wasn't last week. We prophecied about
that 2 weeks ago?
That was when it first happened.
yeah, that's right.
When
That's
they
right.
first announced it. So
Yeah.
What is this?
That's right.
it's a
Hashtag
Sony False Flag.
Sony False Flag.
Oh,
So
yes.
we'll get into that.
Hopefully you've been using that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the hashtag used many places, and I'm a little mad about that. I want more of our audience to
I know,
get out
like,
there.
if we
use
had-
hashtag Sony False Flag.
If we had
Although
more
it's-
of an audience, they would have known about it.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's surprised, like, oh my goodness.
No, I mean,
but it's like if you
we
listened
have
here,
such
you
an
would have.
amazing audience.
Yeah.
They used that hashtag and went all over the place with hashtag Sony False Flag to the point that
It's made it a real hashtag.
it's made up and it made
Well,
it actually come true.
That is obviously definitely some huge news that has happened this week that we will talk about later on the show.
We'll tell you more about what that is.
What that is.
But you got to listen.
Yeah, because, before I didn't know what it was. You guys were talking about your false flags and stuff. But now I totally see the Sony's false flag.
Yeah.
But I have some other information and stuff that, might debate whether or not. So,
And if
we'll
you're
see what it
listening to
is.
us on the good old AM radio frequencies, you can enhance your experience by joining us on Facebook Live, where we're simulcasting with video in full color. And it's really easy to get to our Facebook page. Just go to www.petertingle.org, and that takes you right to our Facebook page, and you'll see our live stream. Join us in the comment section. You can literally change the trajectory of this entire show by posting in the comment section.
It's pretty easy.
It's happened before.
Now that I'm here, I'll try to pull us back into it.
Sean's back though, so
But it still has happened, or it's actually led us in a good direction. And there's a lot of times like usually I'll have like a page or two of notes that I want to talk about, and there's so many times that we get in here and we have a whole show and we've only mentioned like a paragraph of what I have written down.
you ever wanted to be on the radio? This is your chance.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
Get in the comments. Get on the radio.
Comment. We'll throw your name up there. We'll throw your comment on there. Drew has this awesome technology where he knows how to do all that.
It's magic.
Yeah. So just kind of, what do you want to just jump in? I mean, some movie releases, some movies coming out.
We have 4 minutes before we go to break, so let's save that.
So movie news and everything.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your summer surf
my California
vacation.
dreaming.
Yeah.
So what it was is this is all through the VA, and it's called the Summer Sports Clinic. What it is they invite VAs from all over the nation to come over into San Diego, and the San Diego VA hosts this event.
Okay.
You're set into teams, so there's about 12 teams of different VA hospitals throughout the nation. I mean, we had people from New York, Florida, Ohio, St. Louis. I mean, I met a lot of great people, and all of them have some sort of disability, whether one or other.
They're somehow messed up.
Yeah, they were somehow they were in the military, and now they're out, and they have some sort of disability.
And if
They're
you're just joining,
superpowers.
I'm also a veteran, and I'm almost also messed up, so that's why I'm able to say that.
There is no messed up. They're all superpowers.
Yeah, we all have our own specific superpowers or special.
They need a whole.
Nah,
superpower.
you
They need a
doggone
whole
broke.
movie. They need a whole movie based on that of military veterans, all with their own individual superpowers they gained from serving in war. That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, we were talking on the.
I would say that, but in real life, that would be horrible because most veterans I know are so nihilistic they'll just blow up the world just to watch it blow up.
Well,
that's
those could be the
Joker.
villains that they try to turn back to the good side.
so yeah.
So what
They
it
can't
is
be
is
villains. We'd have to figure something out.
basically a lot of these other companies. Like there was this company called Amp Surf, Warrior
Okay.
Sailing, Wounded Warriors was there, and they're just showing other vets that they can actually get out and do things just because of their disability, just because they are an amputee or have a mental illness, doesn't mean that they are stuck to a chair, sitting at home, and can't do anything. I mean, there was a double amputee that was out there rock climbing.
That's awesome.
There was a
Yeah.
blind guy out there sailing. There was an amputee out there surfing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were just showing they have all this adaptive equipment through the VA hospitals and stuff, showing that these people have the ability to get out there, showing them how to use this equipment. And so that
I love that because it's basically reminding them like limitation is only in your mind.
exactly.
Did you get to meet Professor X? Though that's what I want to know.
There was a guy out there that was really cool. He was like that.
Awesome.
But I mean, it was really cool. I met a guy that was a double amputee that has rock climbed El Cap down in
Wow.
Yosemite. Like
That's incredible.
it's amazing. He's the first ever double amputee to climb El Cap, and he written a book and everything. And it was really
See,
really
superheroes.
cool. See, these are
Real life superheroes.
super humans.
Yeah.
There was some other really, really cool people that I met there. And yeah, like you said, Drew, it's showing that you do have the capacity. You're just limiting yourself in your head.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple guys that are on pro surf tours, and they only have one leg. And I'm like, how do you do this? But they said, before they didn't push themselves, but now, with the motivation and everything, they're pushing themselves even further than they have in the past, because of their limitations. And
We
so-
just need an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now to go around and find each of these and help train each of them and make every veteran out there a real life superhuman.
Yeah.
I mean, give Drew his adamantium. Adamantium.
No, I don't want that one.
Back to strengthen your back, and
Or he wouldn't even need it if he had the superhuman
That's true.
healing factor.
Or if I could just
Healing
figure out
factor,
how
that
to
would be
ascend
awesome.
into my rainbow light body, I wouldn't even need to worry about all that.
yes.
yeah, pull some Doctor Strange and go
Yeah.
into the
It's
astral plane,
it's
astral
possible.
world.
So, yeah.
It's possible.
Exactly.
I have my reality stone right here.
Yes, he printed some reality here, and we'll talk about that. It
Yeah,
sounds like a perfect time to go into a
We're
break.
heading
But
up into break. So we'll talk more about some of these other things. I mean, we've mentioned Joker, Spider-Man, Star Wars. But
huge
let's talk about
Star
some-
Wars, huge
Yeah,
Star Wars
I'm
news.
wearing
that
my
we're gonna,
Spider-Man socks just
I
to
wanna-
give a little hint.
Yeah,
I'm wearing my Captain America underoos, but you won't see those.
I've got my turtle shirt on. But I've got some
Now
movie
you know the
reviews
camera saw
or
that.
movie
Yeah.
releases coming up after this, so stay tuned, and we'll be right here after the
Yeah,
break.
a lot of news.
Yeah.
But yeah, Star Wars, huge reveal came out with Bill Iger, whatever his name is, the CEO of Disney.
Come on the show and we can pronounce your name right.
He released a book and had some.
Tell
he
all.
dished some secrets
Oh my
on
gosh, it was
George
pretty interesting.
Lucas's response to The Force Awakens. So we're gonna be getting into that in quite a bit right here on Comic.Church on K Talk AM 1640, real local two-way talk. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic.Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Pew pew.
And now, Comic.Church.
Welcome back. Pew 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 pew
We
pew
are
pew.
here
We
in
are.
the studio. Again.
We
So
got
let's jump
an
into this,
around
'cause
Star Wars.
We've got so much stuff going on. I want to kind of hurry and run down a couple list of movies coming out because we actually have. Well, there's a big movie coming out this weekend, but then also this Tuesday on DVD. It's already been out on digital download, but Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh yes.
It is out to buy on DVD this Tuesday. So go out and buy your extended special edition copy. I know I will. So that's always fun. I like going and watching the director's cuts. The
Toy Story 4 is also coming out.
yeah. So Toy
Not
Story
wanna jump
4.
the gun, but
Yeah. Toy Story 4 comes out October 8th.
my kids are looking forward to that.
Yeah, that one looks good. And then that also, I don't know, a lot of people like the show Vikings. Season 5 of Vikings is coming out October 8th. October 15th, we have Stuber, which I thought was pretty good. And then Crawl, which we both went and saw. It's a good jump scare.
Okay.
It's a good jump scare, especially here coming into October, the month of scary movies and everything.
Speaking of scary movies, have you seen the new season of American Horror Story, 1984?
I've heard about this, and I was wondering what it was. I need to catch up because I'm like on season 3 of American Horror Story.
Okay.
I just need to jump back because it's cool because they've gone back and done this whole prequel set, like a preset of 1984. So
Yeah, so the 1984 ones, it's if you love the horror movies, up at camp, those types of the token 1980s horror flicks.
they're
It's
classic.
right in that vein of it. So it's a great. It's creepy as heck, but I love it. Last
that is a
season-
good creepy TV or show. And
There's
it's really
some
fun.
seasons where I'm like, nope, it's gone too far. I'm done.
Really.
There's been
Well,
a
I
couple.
heard like the Blair, Salem Witch one.
That was one Coven.
The
That was a
Coven.
really good season. I like
Okay.
Coven.
Because there was a couple I wanted to watch. What was the last year's was the
Antichrist.
Yeah, there was a couple of.
And it was crazy because the guy they casted, they even dressed him up. He looked like he could play Joseph Smith. It was really creepy. So as he's up there, it's like, is this a seminary film? And then, of course, my favorite part of the whole season, and the only thing I'm going to give away is bump bump.
Oh, now I need to see.
So
this.
yeah.
So
What does that mean?
So speaking of, to go off of October 22nd, that movie, Scary Stories.
Yeah.
The Scary Stories to Tell in Dark comes out on October 22nd, so just in time for Halloween. Kind of
Nice.
maybe watch it for a horror night. Also, October 22nd, Lion King.
Okay.
This will be a good one. This will be one that people are looking forward to. Also, there is a DC animated. These are the ones that I really look forward to. Is Wonder Woman Bloodlines. Also comes out October 22nd as well.
In theaters?
These are all DVD releases.
Oh, okay.
So in theaters.
How about Netflix? Does it come out on Netflix or similar?
I'm not sure with DC having their own app. I'm not sure how they would do that with Netflix. But on Hulu, they do have a couple of those. Like they have the Judas Project, and there's the actual Justice League Bloodlines, Batman.
Okay.
So
does anyone get DVDs anymore other than
I
Sean?
do.
I don't. My DVD Blu-ray isn't even hooked up to the TV anymore.
I get the collector's items. That's what I get.
Yeah.
Still.
No, but coming in theaters though, there's
Coming
couple,
in theaters, there's a couple good ones.
Yeah.
I know last weekend Rambo came out. This weekend,
I hear Rambo actually
is good.
It's good. I hear critics
good.
hate it, fans love it.
Well, that's the thing is, it's
So
hard to say.
we're supposed to hate it.
It's an expression of toxic masculinity that I just cannot tolerate.
Drew the critic hates it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Rambo came out last weekend, and then let's see, September 27th. This weekend. So there's a couple good ones that just came out. The Abominable came out for kids. This weekend also there's a movie called Judy. It's the story of Judy Garland.
Mm-hmm.
And now.
It's a musical.
It is a musical.
Has a great soundtrack.
Renee Zellweger is in this, and she actually is singing.
Oh yeah, the
Is
soundtrack
her
is
voice,
awesome. I was listening to it on the way here.
Everything, and I've heard that this is actually a really good movie. This is like up there with the Rocket Man type biography.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for a good musical.
Especially these
Renee
good ones
Zellweger
coming out, and
should
that's
do
why I
good.
kind of wanted to pick this topic of the music and everything, because we have a lot of these great movies like Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man. There's Lucy in the Sky. There's a lot of these shows that are coming out that are kind of geared around a lot of these old rock bands and musicians and stuff like that. Yeah,
And Renee Zellweger,
Bohemian
I
Rhapsody.
think she's done Broadway before. I believe. Yeah.
It kind of surprised me when I heard that she was
should be
singing
good.
and doing this herself. So.
She'll be good in this because she has done Broadway. She's talented.
Yes, and then obviously, of course, next weekend, October 4th, we have Joker.
It's crazy. It's October next week.
This week, this Tuesday is the first.
Halloween is this week. What? Oh,
It
Not yet.
feels like it will feel like
starts.
it. Wait a week, and
yeah.
all of a sudden you'll know
It's like
the end of the month.
Groundhog
Joke
Day.
for
It
Joker.
just happens over and over again through the month of October.
Well, and
everyone starts
yeah.
all their Halloween parties the first week of October. So every weekend you've got a Halloween
But time
party.
is flying by. Like I was telling Sean as I was saving the, because we record the shows because we upload it as a podcast, and I just remember literally it felt like yesterday that I was recording, September 1st, and now it's like the very end of the month. It's like, well, where'd that go?
Yeah, exactly. But before we know it, it's going to be November. We're
Yeah.
going to be getting ready to go, the holidays, Thanksgiving and everything. So and then October 11th, we have a nice little family movie for the holidays of Halloween. Is Addams Family,
Oh, okay.
the new Addams Family. I've heard a lot of different people saying I don't like this. They don't look like my Addams Family. I'm just saying, I'm willing to give it a shot. I want to see what they do. I'm actually looking forward to it. The Funko Pops look pretty fun. October 18th, Zombieland 2 Double Tap. This is one that's been really looked forward to for a long time. Fans have been really pushing to get this one in theaters. So we'll see how that one goes. Also, that same day, Gemini Man with Will Smith. And then one that we are going to see a little earlier.
I'm excited about this one because this is my my spirit animal. Go
This
ahead.
is your spirit animal.
Yeah.
So your spirit animal is Maleficent.
Yes.
Just the whole Maleficent, or the dragon, or the whole thing. I mean,
Well, it's half my spirit animal.
Half
There's a
your
good half of my side. Like you cross me, I'll curse you and all that kind of stuff. And there's the
Yeah.
other half. It's like I'll forgive you and we'll smoke together.
so that's one that we're kind of looking forward to. I mean, we just got our
Yeah.
press screening passes and for it. So we
And
will
Angelina
definitely see it.
Jolie has done an incredible job bringing that
I think
character to life.
She kind of plays that one really well.
She does.
I mean, she looks the part. She plays the part. I mean, I can see her. I can see that being her on and off screen.
It's her.
It's her. She's just playing herself.
On and off screen. You know. I just want to collect all these babies. They're mine. My children.
Kind of.
So that's kind of the big things for the month of October. I mean, we've got some other ones coming out into the month of November, but we could kind of catch up on those.
Yeah,
we'll
wait on those.
I mean, obviously, there's Terminators. We've got Star Wars eventually coming out and stuff. So,
and also just to relaunch it. So next week, being in October, we're going to start a series on Lord of the Rings.
yes.
So we're going to go back to Middle Earth and talk some of the mythology and.
I definitely, and I have a friend that we could definitely. She is a huge Middle Earther.
Yeah.
And definitely do that. One of a good movie that just came out on Netflix. I don't know if you like Zach Galifianakis but his show Between Two Ferns.
yes.
So he just had.
I don't know why when you said Zach Galifianakis, Zac Efron just popped up in my head. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
I haven't
they're
seen it. I've been
both
looking
very
forward to
hot
watching
in
that
different
one. He's one of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
Zach Galifianakis.
The Hangover
is hilarious.
is like one of my all-time favorite.
And that's one of the
movies.
ones that he really got me, because just the humor that he has in that, and the humor that he has in Between Two Ferns. I mean, I watched his one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and just the conversations that he has with him. I mean, just asking, do you think it?
I saw some of that.
You're as popular in movies because you have an accent. He's like, no, I guess that could. How do you say Benedict Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch.
I'm like, oh my gosh, he's really funny. He's a good comedian. It's a pretty funny show. So that just came out on Netflix. That's definitely one to watch.
Definitely. So we have a good 9 minutes for a break. So should we get into the Sony False Flag?
Yeah, let's. Do you want me to kind of go over some of the what had happened? So a couple months, a month ago.
Yeah, about a month ago.
Disney came to Sony and said they were at the time only getting 5% of the sales.
And this was a week before San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, Disney was only getting 5%. Yeah. They were still getting all of the rights to all the trademarks of the toys, the franchise. But they were only getting 5% of the income that Spider-Man brought in. This was a deal that they had made 5 years ago, saying that we want two standalone movies, but we want him to be in our movies. We want to be able to use him. And Sony said, okay, we want to be able to use your characters in our movies. So a contract was made, which was very beneficial. I mean, just the fact of when Spider-Man came in Civil War.
Yeah.
It was all around the movie Venom, wasn't it?
Now that's where a lot of this debate is coming into, is because Sony wants to be able to use him in their movies. They are trying to make a whole franchise, a whole world around Spider-Man, and all his villains with the Venom movie. It did so surprisingly well. And they want him in the Venom 2.
Okay.
And so can I just say the memes around this are hilarious.
Oh.
I've seen some Venom ones. I shared a few in the Bible study group. I just barely shared another one. Just totally making fun of this whole saga
there's a lot of memes.
Spider-Man going back and
Carrie
forth.
has posted a couple memes on Bible.
Hey,
on
Tony!
Bible studies and stuff, and
You won't believe what I've been through.
Sony didn't want anything. They felt that Disney was already making too much money. They didn't want to kind of budge with a lot of it. But Disney was the one that's coming in there and saying, well, I have more toys. I want to play with it, and let me use your toy type of thing on the playground, the bully on the playground. And so Sony kind of held their ground for a little bit. A lot of people are thinking this was all a plot. This is all. I mean, that's the Sony.
Well,
False Flag.
yeah, that's where it came in. So when this was all going down, my Peter Tingle was just going off. It's like tingle, tingle, tingle. And it's just something didn't smell right. Because first of all, we're talking about the first time Sony has ever made $1 billion box office on a movie.
This is Sony's highest grossing movie that they have.
And so
they
they
beat out Skyfall, which was
and then they
last.
self-destruct it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
what? Any CEO, the board of directors should call for his head if that legitimately was happening. So we're like, yeah, some doesn't smell right because they just made a freaking $1 billion when their previous Spider-Man movies they'd be blessed if they made $250 million. So it's like you quadrupled your return on the movie, and now you're gonna just take your ball and go home and try to win the championship again on yourself. Like that's not going to work out. So we're like, okay, it's a false flag. You know, they're trying to pull a smart one. So, you know, and it worked brilliantly because then what did it do?
Beautiful
It
PR
got
stunt.
all of the fans all riled up. Oh my gosh, I'm going to boycott Sony. And then, you know,
Well, there was all these people saying instead of raiding Area 51, let's raid Sony. Let's get the all this stuff.
And let's face it, Disney doesn't care about the other stuff. Disney makes all their money on the merchandise anyway.
But
so
Disney does care about. I mean, again, when you're measuring returns in the billions, the shareholders of Disney definitely care.
Absolutely,
Like that's. Well, and so you know they wanted it,
but they're going to get their money
chunk
off
of it.
of everything else out of this, regardless.
Yeah, and they want to get their chunk out of it, and ultimately, I know we Sean and I we disagree on some of these things, but you know, ultimately, Disney as the owner of Marvel owns now the intellectual property that they're licensing to Sony. So it's like, hey, this is we're licensing to do this, but we're the primary parent owner of this, so we want a little bit more. So, you know, even with Sony and Disney, if they split it 50-50, that's still like double what Sony's ever made on any Spider-Man
their
movie. So it's
movies.
like, okay, we're calling a false flag here. They're trying to jerk everyone off here.
Playing
And
games.
yeah.
So a lot of what it is it's Disney saying that Disney, the suits, are saying we want the money.
Bob Iger.
But then you got people like fans like Kevin Feige that says, no, I just want to play with the toy.
yeah.
And so basically one of the whole things that came out of it was Sony gets to use Kevin Feige's brain and say, how do we do this? His directing ability, the whole idea that he has in his head. This is one of the part of the negotiation things that they're using. Kevin Feige has gone on there and stated in the past, this was a dream of his. He was able to even do it in the past. He had 5 good years of Spider-Man. He told the story he wanted to tell. He was grateful that he even got to do that. And so
I'm worried about Kevin Feige because, and we'll talk about this in
when we get
a
later
future
on in some
segment,
of them.
but Disney is also tapping him for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid they're going to burn him out.
They're gonna. Well, I think that right now he's got his plans
Spoiler
so
alert.
set in his wheels so greased and running right now that I think they're pretty much in motion for the Marvel right now.
Yeah.
The Star Wars. I was reading an interview on his, and this isn't gonna happen, at least until 2024, possibly. That he's like actually doing something with Star Wars. And
Yeah.
again, he's the producer. He's not directing,
Yeah.
he's not writing, he's not doing any of this stuff. It's just kind of his idea. And some of the things I was reading, it sounds like he's actually more of a fan of Star Wars.
Well, who isn't?
He's had, I mean, especially growing up because
He's
there weren't-
jealous of J.J.
Star
Abrams
Wars
is what he is.
had more toys
Yeah.
than Marvel. I mean, I had a lot of action figures and things, but Star Wars owned the toys in the 80s. They had the toy industry.
Well, and I think that, Kevin is kind of a representation of our generation. Both you're
Do
a
you know
super
how
fan
old
of
he is?
Marvel.
He's
super
only
fan,
46 years old.
Yeah, he doesn't look it, but super fan of Marvel, of Star Wars, of all of these. Like, and it's kind of like us here at Comic.Church. You don't have to just be one super fan. You could be a super fan of them all.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's the thing is because that's one of our big things that we try to push is love everything. You don't have to be a bully and say, oh, you like Marvel, you can't like Superman then. No, you can. You can like them all. I mean, it's fun to play with your toys and have Wolverine, battling alongside Batman. And that's what Patton Oswalt has even had a big thing where he said, with the Infinity Gauntlet, we can use the Reality Stone and we can bring Star Wars into Marvel.
yep.
And so one of his debates
I've got
actually,
that right here.
was actually pretty good. But
I'm holding
there's
up
a
my
couple
3D
more. I want
printed
to tell a little
reality
bit more
stone,
about some of the actual
as I call it.
details of this Spider-Man
Yeah.
deal. But we're getting ready to head into break.
Yeah, we got about 20 seconds.
So we'll talk some more about the Spider-Man because I just want to, the little details. So
Yeah.
as soon as we get back from the break, I'll tell some things.
And then second hour, we'll dive deep into the Star Wars galaxy far, far away.
Definitely.
So you're listening to Comic Church on K-Talk, AM 1640, real local 2A comic book talk, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay. And now, Comic Church.
Welcome back to Comic Church.
PeterTingle.org.
Gotta love the Peter Tingle.
Feel the tingle.
So
Wait, it's with the Peter Tingle that you know this church is true.
it is. You use that Peter Tingle. Feel that tingle.
On Comic Church.
Okay, so the deal was done Thursday night.
Yes.
This was finalized. This was a negotiation between not the suits, the people that want the money. This was a negotiation between the writers, directors, the little men that want to play with the toys.
Yes.
And so that's why I think a lot of this was done. They said that there has been a talk that was saying that this was done. This wasn't on purpose. This was Spider-Man was out of the MCU for the last month and a half or so. He was done. They were, there's statements of it.
So they said.
There's statements of it. I don't know.
Hashtag
I'm not,
Sony False Flag.
But so the deal was done. This is the new finalized deal is Spider-Man is going to so Disney is going to get 25%. So they're going to pitch in half and get 25% back. Marvel or Sony's going to get the rest. Disney still has the rights to the toys.
Mr. Stark, you won't believe where I've been.
This is only going to go on a one-on-one movie basis. So the negotiations is Spider-Man 3 is going to be helped, along with Disney, and Disney's going to get him to get to use him in one more Disney or other Avengers Marvel movie.
Again, I think this is so silly. Like, okay, we're going to give one more trial basis to see if you could, only get $1 billion. Oh, we're going to give it one more try.
And it's easier. I think it's a little easier for a lot of them just to kind of go on the one-on-one.
Do they all have a
just for
snap
Sony,
beard now, though? That's what I want to know.
A blip beard?
A blip beard.
A blip beard. Yeah, that's
don't
right.
know.
Blip beard.
But Sony said he has to be in
a snap
He
scruffle.
has to be in Venom.
Yeah.
He has to be in Venom movie.
Sorry, that was my reality stone.
We have other movies that are coming out that we want him to be involved with. We want this whole thing. This is a statement that Kevin Feige has stated. I am thrilled that Spidey's journey into the MCU will continue, and I and all of us at Marvel Studios are very excited that we get to keep going and working on this. In a statement, Spider-Man is a powerful icon and a hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences around the globe. He also happens to be the only hero with superpowers to cross cinematic universes. So as Sony continues to develop their own Spideyverse, you never know what the surprises might hold in the future.
It's all so lame.
They're working on a Spideyverse 2.
Yeah.
They're working on the Morbius movie, and they're not sure. And this is kind of nice because I looked at how Far From Home ended in that huge cliffhanger. They didn't know what to do, and I was thinking, without Disney, without the ability to even bring in Avengers or talk about them or do anything, how is Sony going to fix that?
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Spider-Man Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange, and he pulls this magic cast spell and makes the world forget that he's Spider-Man, But then this way, they have the ability, going into the movie where I believe we're going to see a Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
We're going to see a Spider-Man Hunted show in this, and I think that he's going to be having to call on some of the other Avengers or somebody to kind of help with it. And so we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes, where the direction. So right now,
So is the boycott of Spider-Man finally over?
I would say so because Spider-Man is slotted, and now he is back on Phase 4 of Marvel's timeline, and it comes out July 16th of 2021.
So who do we channel? Because for at least a month, all of our Marvel fans were wrangling. You know, the anguish, the grief, like all that was like unnecessary.
Oh yeah.
So who do we show our that we did not appreciate that as fans? Like, do we direct that anger towards
PeterTingle.org.
Well,
direct your
visit- yeah.
anger in the comments.
I don't want that
right
anger.
here on PeterTingle.org.
Or should we
I'll
like
take any comments?
Or should we
quite
start one of
frankly.
these things like we
I
Come
think a
comment.
lot of it is the suits,
Please.
the big top
Like,
guys.
like remember
Mr.
when
Stark?
remember when they canceled Jericho and then all of a sudden fans started sending giant packages of peanuts to like the studio as a form of protest.
I'll
Like their
take
mailroom
your-
was
I'll
full
take
of
your
peanuts.
peanuts.
Like
Give me
I wonder
something.
what we could do to Sony. Like what's something that we could all send to the
Stop
I don't
laughing, Sean.
necessarily think it was Sony as it was more of Disney.
Hey, we just got more views from me saying that.
I think Disney is the one that was, no, I want more money. I want your money. But I mean, it's,
So
it's
should we
right,
all
'cause look,
everyone
Sony's-
go buy Monopoly money and send it to the Walt Disney corporate
put
office?
some-
Everyone,
Draw some
everyone
Mickey Mouses
share
on
this
there.
video on Facebook and tag your friends and tag Disney and Sony in it with hashtag Sony False Flag.
Because they drug us through,
I
a whole
think-
entire month of grief and pain. Like people grieved over the loss
Because
of this.
look at it. It's Disney coming in, the big bully, and saying, "No, you're going to let me play with your toys. You're going to do
But
this."
they own the toy. They bought the toy.
Don't
they
send me
don't
away,
own
Mr. Stark.
Spider-Man yet.
But they own the intellectual
Spider-Man-
property of Spider-Man
That is
that
not.
they've leased to
Don't
Sony.
sell my
but it's
intellectual
their toy
property,
that they
Mr.
bought.
Stark.
where was it? I have another. Back in '94.
Yes.
When Marvel
They
Marvel's-
licensed.
and they sold the right.
They sold the licensing rights, but not the intellectual property. Those two are different things. Marvel maintains the intellectual property of Spider-Man.
I had another one.
Mr. Stark wants intellectual property.
This is still all because of Marvel's going bankrupt back in
Yes.
the '90s.
But it's a licensing agreement. It's not an ownership.
No, they
transfer of ownership.
licensed the agreement to Disney. 'Cause
Yes.
they still own.
But Marvel still owns the intellectual property
Poor
of
Peter
Spider-Man.
Parker. He's getting pulled
so
all
there-
sorts of different directions.
So intellectual property is the actual character that
Yeah.
they own along with all the other Marvel characters. Now the licensing was what they licensed to actually. Now you could take this character we own and go make a movie off of it. So that's what they're operating off of. But ultimately, Disney bought the intellectual property, but they still have to honor the licensing.
So that they
So
can,
it's like
they
it's
can
like
make
it's like a
standalone
kid
movie.
getting pulled back and forth in a divorce.
Yeah.
It's
So
poor Peter.
Anyways,
but
can you imagine what
it's-
it'd be like to be Disney? Like have so many billions of dollars that like you're like, I just bought you.
Just don't involve the kid. That's all I say.
I mean, there's so
Work
much.
out
I mean,
your stuff
Even look at.
behind closed doors.
So we had mentioned the Star Wars because they with this whole Black Spire
Yeah.
Outpost, and they thought this was going to be a big thing. They thought it was going to be so big they raised the ticket prices, and so it was
Well,
a big failure. And
yeah.
people have stopped coming. They've stopped coming so much that you've sent me a link where in Orlando. They've seen such a
Orlando.
lower income of people coming in that they've stopped a lot of the performers.
Well, yeah, and yeah, so and that goes to a bigger problem that we've talked about here is Disney's raised their ticket prices.
Yeah.
We bought this, we bought Star Wars for $4 billion, and now we're going to build a brand new land that's going to cost us $1 billion to make. Actually, they didn't sell. They just basically gave $4 billion worth of shares to George Lucas, not actual cash. And then they built their land, and they're like, okay, well now let's take it out on the customers, and they like raised ticket prices by like 40%.
Yeah.
Like compared to just 10 years ago, you could get a single day park hopper for $78. Now it's $178.
I'm in the Disney season pass holders Facebook group because it's fascinating. It's a
Yeah.
great place for news, in fact. But they're revolting in there over over them having these blacked out
Yeah.
dates when no one's there, and they're
they've
not allowing
increased the
season
number-
pass holders
yeah.
to come in.
And they've increased the
It's-
number of blackout days.
Yeah, and season passes are going up in price, and they're like, we're not going to buy a season pass anymore.
I think
if,
that's
now
where we need to boycott like some of the Disney stuff, even though it's hard.
Disney
because I
is
love
getting
it
a bit
all.
of control. That's
It is, but they've reached.
sorry, Aaron.
There's a point.
love you,
and
Aaron.
Disney, it was a theoretical point, and Disney proved it, where you actually will reach a price where you priced out most of your customers, and then you actually will start losing. They've maximized, and they found out, oh, we don't. So what they've been having to do is fire the Disney cast
dancers,
members.
the performers, a lot of the things that go
So
on.
the suits make a
entertainment.
mistake, and then they fire the cast members that they're barely paying as it
Yeah.
is.
Like-
Like they're paying
like
a minimum
Spider-Man.
wage.
Poor Peter.
So it's I don't know. It's Disney.
I
is
met
definitely getting
Spider-Man at
greedy.
Disneyland. He went and met his friends right afterwards. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to watch. And,
Yeah.
And,
Well, and it's also-
I thought of him during all this.
With this whole breakup thing between Spider-Man and Disney, which again, one of the reasons why we're like, hey, this is a false flag. Why would they build an entire attraction in downtown California Disney that's centered around Spider-Man when
Yeah.
they've lost the rights to Spider-Man? It's like
it's the
you-
merchandise.
like the fact that the public is aware of it, like they've already been planning this land for at least 1 or 2 years, like the Imagineering teams
Like I
and
said, that's where
designers.
Disney makes their money.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, well, we're not
It's
going
not
to do
about
it
the
anymore.
movies for Disney.
So yeah,
Not
Disney.
anymore.
I think Sony was just trying to hold out and as long as they could
Yeah.
before Disney came in and just totally wrecked their sandcastle. You
Yep.
know? And so they kind of held out 25%. I think I really would hope that Disney doesn't come back, after this movie or later on and say, we want more. Come on, isn't 25% enough? when they're
Disney
making
won't do it
so
unless
much.
they can maintain their
And
brand
it's
with it.
not like they're
and
losing
and
money.
They're sure it's going to happen because Disney's all about their brand.
There's no
And
way Disney's
includes
gonna
the
lose
Spider-Man
money.
brand.
Because they're putting in their money and they're guaranteed to get that money back.
I will challenge you on that. I used to think Disney cared about their brand because they're brand police.
They're known,
But I
for
don't think so
their
because
branding.
I think they damaged part of their brand going through these shenanigans. Because
It's
ultimately,
possible.
the brand is as valuable as much as the fans value it.
It's
And I
possible.
think when their greed got in the way of,
Yeah.
I think that
perhaps
jumped in the way.
their brand supremacy that they're so known for has jumped the shark as a result of some of this.
Kind of
Maybe
this-
they've got
like
the wrong
ticket
people.
prices.
Yeah, maybe they got the wrong people. They did just fire the person in charge of
Parks?
of the parks.
Yeah.
No,
because
she
of
quit.
some of that. Oh, she quit.
Well,
Is
she-
that what it was?
Once
When you
who knows?
Disney
Who
will
knows? Quit in
Disney will
quotes.
fire you with a nice little
It's a big
cinnamon
company.
bun.
You don't quit those companies.
Yeah,
Because it
they'll
was such-
fire you.
They don't fire big companies.
But then they'll let you save face, saying,
Yeah.
we let you."
She probably got
yeah.
a pretty nice severance package out of
Yeah.
it, and agreed that they could label it as quitting.
and a contract that she can't say anything about it for like 20 or 30 years.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
typical for most really big companies.
Which is smart,
It's a
though.
good place to work. If you work for a big company,
But
you
Not Disney. I have a few friends that work there. It's not like it used to be. Like
Yeah. I've
heard
if
that.
you were
I've heard that.
working for Disney in the 90s was awesome.
yeah.
Then after Michael Eisner left and Bob Iger took over in the 2000s, it became more for the shareholders.
Yeah. But it's hard to get fired out of those companies without a decent severance.
Well, yeah, if your salary important, but they
Man,
keep
I'd
most
just,
of their.
I'd just be like, give me a
As long as you're not
0.0
Mickey Mouse.
Give me a 0.03% of anything Disney makes. I'll leave.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I think Disney is learning a lesson, and hopefully they can course correct and remember, it's the fans that made them a multi-billion-dollar company, not their shareholders.
Yeah.
It's.
They need to
hope
stop
they
the
will learn
control.
that.
We've had a
Yeah.
lot of conversations about control, and give up control, and the whole universe opens up to you,
and return to
especially the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and return to the vision that Walt Disney had for the company.
Yeah.
Where the product and the experience is the first priority.
Mhm.
I don't know. I miss Walt.
Disney needs to wake up. They need to become woke.
They do, and even Abigail Disney agrees.
Yep.
So, But no, we got about a minute here before we take off to our top of the hour break. But when we come back, we're gonna still stay in the realm of Disney. Bob Iger,
it's hard not to these days.
Well, they own everything. But Bob Iger had an autobiography come out where he revealed some deep dish secrets
involving George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas, how he.
I'm excited for this because I actually have not read this yet, so I'm kind of excited.
Yeah. So it's we got that and quite a few other topics in the Star Wars realms, and yeah. So
we'll see. We'll be back in a galaxy far, far away.
But in the meantime, we're going to send you away to our top of the hour news break where you can learn about the awesome things that are happening in our world right now.
Unless you're listening to this on a podcast, and
we've
we'll see you in a
edited that
second.
out.
You can get in your meditative state and enjoy this music going.
Yes, here at Comic.Church, where you are the hero. Everything is possible as long as you believe. Right here at K-Talk AM 1640. We'll be right back.
We now return to Hour 2 of Comic.Church on K-Talk, AM 1640. Real local two-way comic psycho spiritual talk. With your hosts, Drew the Fairy Godbro, the Reverend Sith Lord Jesse Stay, and the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray. And now we return to the sanctum of spirituality, Comic.Church.
Welcome back. Hey.
I know.
I know.
No, I know.
No, I know. No, I know.
So there was some information on Star Wars.
There was a little bit of
I'm at the edge of my seat
gossip.
here.
On this George Lucas.
So, billionaire
I'm feeling
one
the tingle
percenter, Bob Iger.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he eats babies. Just kidding.
Mr. Conspiracy Theory.
Those are the other shows on K-Talk. This is Comic.Church. No, but he is a billionaire, bro. He wrote a book. We probably had somebody write the book for him, and he just talked. But so he had an autobiography come out, and he dished some secrets on George Lucas. And Star Wars. So
just some of his dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
That
So
he's had with Star Wars.
So we'll go to the beginning of it. So Uncle George, gets $4 billion for selling his lifetime works. The Star Wars universe.
And that would be a hard thing to do. Like your life's work.
And so
$4 billion.
Yeah, and so with that, he'd written 3 treatments for the next part in the trilogy.
Yeah.
As
kind of like an outline.
Yeah.
If you had a good writer, you could easily just make a great story out of what he had already kind of.
Well, and he's created the universe. So, he started the story episode 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3. And so obviously, if he's gone to that point, he had a vision of what he was going to do in 7, 8, 9. Mm-hmm. And so he wrote the treatment for those. And with the sale of Lucasfilm to Disney, Disney had the option to use those. And they got JJ, Cuz JJ, to come in and direct episode 7. Mm-hmm. And so they went out to Lucas Farms.
Mm-hmm. I have some of their wine at home, by the way.
Yes, is it out of this world?
Well, I haven't tried it because I don't dare open it. It's I'm gonna
galaxy?
will this wine to my kids. It's a Pinot.
Yeah. So, anyways, back to the story. So cousin JJ, and Aunt, what's her butt?
Drew?
Kind
Kathy.
of. Kathleen Kennedy, Aunt Kathy, went up to Uncle George's farm, and they're like, hey, this is what we're going to do. And with that, it's like, we ignored everything you told us we're going to do. And so, George is kind of like, okay. So then, fast forward a little bit, and there's, Bob takes the film to show George.
Yeah.
And George was not impressed. He's like, there's nothing new. Like
part of what George wanted is he wanted to expand the universe. He wanted to incorporate other worlds, other people, new things, and none of it happened.
No, it was just basically like if you took
retelling of his previous story.
If you take episodes 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and you put it in a one of those lottery spinning things, and then a piece of the story plot falls out. I think that's how they built.
It's the same structure.
Force Awakens.
Anyway. That's why I say Han Solo is not dead.
Well, okay, so then we'll fast forward, and then then the next episode, Rian Johnson.
Yes.
He first of all, it's how he spells his name. You already know that he's a dork. Well, he probably is from Daybreak, and his mom wanted to have a special.
He's not
spelling
from Utah.
of his name.
I think it's Rian is how you pronounce it.
Well, he's Rhea. No, I can't say that. I can't use the R word.
I think it's
go back to a Jack Galifianakis word.
He's retreaded.
But there is probably a Ryan spelt that way here in Utah. Yes.
Yeah. So he basically said the story plot that JJ was going to do.
It was Ryan by the spelling.
So he does to JJ what JJ did to George. Basically, throw up the plan, and so maybe that was kind of like his little like, oh, you did that to Grandpa George or Uncle George. I'll show you what it feels like. You had a plan for 3 movies. Guess what I'm going to do. Yeah. So that was episode 8, and I think overall the fans' welcome of that movie was.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard because there's so much.
It redeemed episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, it did. I mean, there's more action and things, but the thing that's
not hard to
do. And that's debatable is a lot of people went into it wanting questions answered.
Yeah,
and left having more questions and nothing answered prior
because he was concerned about setting the stage for his own trilogy. He was selfish.
Yeah,
but no, and that's the point is that with George and his plan, it's the same thing like with the Marvel universe. We're invested. 7 movies already. Yeah. And, the 8th one, it's like that was like a kick in the gut,
Yeah.
And so to have all these fans that are invested into this story that's being told, to then have the story being thrown out, kind of like what they did with the last season of Game of Thrones. It's like, we're going to have a new writer. Everything we thought we were building up to, forget that. We'll do it this way. Yeah. And I think that ticked off a lot of fans.
Well, yeah. Well,
and it ticked off Uncle George.
It did. Part of that whole $4 billion deal that he had was he was still able, if they had any questions, any supervising questions or anything like that, they could go and ask George, and he had to give them advice, answer it, and that was part of that contractual deal that they made with him. And so by them not even going to him and asking him any information or anything besides what he had already given them, and, the first, with 7 and 8.
Yeah.
So that's why he was like, well, what the heck? I gave you kind of like an outline.
Foolproof.
And you didn't come and ask me anything or do anything until now. Until now with JJ and, everything that's going on with episode 9. So
I gave you a $4 billion franchise and you wrecked it.
Yeah. and so that's what they're kind of switching things up a little bit here with this episode 9.
Hey, Kevin, welcome to the feed.
Yes, we got another commenter.
Kevin Neffer.
Hey, Kevin.
Welcome.
I'm just going to totally overblow the comment thing because I want people commenting.
Okay, so Uncle George has an obligation to be a consulting producer if they muck it up. And, they've mucked it up. First of all, I think Kathleen Kennedy needs to be given her severance package.
Yes.
Very give her a golden parachute.
And quote, quit.
Yeah, and she can quit.
That was in quotes for the listeners.
I hate to hate on her because I think it is awesome that we have a woman running one of the most
influential.
Yeah, one of the most.
She brings some personality that I've seen her office at Lucasfilm.
She does, but
it's right next to C-3PO and R2-D2 and the big Jar Jar in Carbonite that Lucas got as a gift.
So with this too, I mean,
sorry.
No, there's a lot going on with it, and they want to revert this back to a Lucas vision.
Yeah.
Um,
Or WandaVision.
Yeah, I had some information on that, but we'll have to save it for another time.
But yeah, no. So I don't. I would
Kevin
like.
says he's good. He never shuts up. Well,
Good, welcome.
don't shut up in our comments, Kevin. We love having you on here.
We don't police anybody's
Kevin,
tone.
you could be our number one fan here.
Yeah,
We're
we don't
no
police
pressure.
we don't police anybody's tone.
The more you comment, the more of a fan we rate you.
Unless they talk about flat Earth theory, then we'll make fun of you.
We might give out prizes if people comment so often. I have plenty of prizes I could actually give out if we really wanted to.
You
I
should,
want some
yeah,
prizes.
you should give away some of your prizes.
I want prizes.
So yeah, so the
just
news is
in general,
he might
George
be
Lucas
coming
felt
back.
betrayed by everything that had happened. They didn't use any of his input, any of his advice. They didn't come to him for anything, and so that was Bob Iger's big thing. He kind of revealed that George felt betrayed. By
Jesse's dying over there. Here, move a little bit this way so we could
I
at least
breathed
watch
in-
you die on
I
camera.
breathed in what I was supposed to swallow.
We could turn Comic.Church into a snuff film.
Oh,
So
excuse me.
there's
So
kinda
yeah,
that
so
type of information.
the rumor is that Uncle George is being brought back in, but currently, into the underground tunnels as to not embarrass any of the people that mucked
Yeah.
up the entire franchise. But yeah, he's being brought back in, and maybe some things might be moving around a little bit on this new.
I'm dying here. What's going
See,
on?
so-
What's
so
gonna change?
I don't know, but we did get a glimpse into some of the leaks into what George's vision was, and one of them that I found really interesting was it explains the wills.
The wills.
Yeah, the midichlorians, chlorides, or what do you
So
call them?
the
and the
wills-
force.
The wills to me are like the Watchers of the Marvel Universe.
They're the Force.
Or the wills are the Watchers. It's kind of they're the all-knowing. They're the ones that are more involved with. They feel the midichlorians. They feel the Force. They
What
know
was that?
everything.
What was
going
that
on.
bit about? They can jump in our bodies and drive around in our reality.
No,
or?
he was referring it to as our bodies are like the cars that are just driving around, and they're the ones that are guiding in the directions.
Okay.
And things.
Kevin says in reference to Lucas, he had to expect when he sold out, though. It's Disney after all.
It is.
Yeah, they're gonna change everything to their own.
Kevin, our number
But-
one fan.
But he was wanting to mention something about with the wills, like the scroll text in the verse of every movie. This was kind of part of their dialogue, their books that they have. So they're the ones that are. It's almost like they're writing the story, or they're just kind of.
Or they're the ones that are playing the simulation.
Yeah, they're playing with their toys, and it just
Yeah,
kind of seems
and
like
we're
a
their
little
toys.
story. So, but it was a cool, and he wanted to really delve, and it would have been really cool to have so much more of it. But the thing is, with it, we have so much other things. I mean, with this other news, that Kevin Feige is going to be helping, produce some Star Wars. We've got Jon Favreau still doing it. The other guys that did the Game of Thrones, they're producing. So we have. This isn't going to happen until. So we have Episode 9 coming out, and then we have 3 years of Disney Plus. We have the Mandalorian, the Kenobi movie. There's the Cassian Andor, where there's that prequel to the whole Rogue One story.
Kenobi.
show.
Kenobi
There's
just
the
announced their
Kenobi.
director.
The director
just
is
yesterday.
a female.
Uh-huh.
I had her.
I had her name
on
a second
here.
ago. I can't remember.
But
I want to know when then Feige's going to take over, and they're going to
He's gonna be later
the,
on, but they have
the
these
Marvel and the Star Wars universes into
that's
one.
not going to happen. But they have
If
all
there's
these
money in it,
other
they will.
directors and everything else. So Star Wars has plans for the future, but after Episode 9, there's not going to be anything for a few years. But we're going to have some filler with Disney Plus
Okay.
in the meantime.
Which starts November 12th.
November 12th.
Is it $6.99?
I'm actually pretty excited about that.
I don't know because
getting
I'm
tired
already
of
paid
Netflix.
off for 3 years and I'm good
Yeah.
to go. So
Trying to remember what they the price they
Um,
said it was going to be.
I think it is $6.99 because it's about 7 or 4. I can't remember. We'll find it in a second.
It's between $1 and $10.
I know that Apple TV had the lowest. Netflix is going to get their trash kicked next
Well,
year.
the
I'm
thing
kind
is-
of
Well, their stock is.
So
I'm
Netflix,
kind of excited to see them be humbled up a little
In
bit.
Netflix, they dropped 130,000 followers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they still have over 60 million.
They do,
viewers.
but again, they don't respect their viewers. They're going to have to lower their price to compete. And if
It's
they
a
don't,
content game.
It
Well, they do. Yeah,
it
Disney,
isn't, but they're losing all their content.
Disney Plus is $7 a year, or $7 a month, $70 a year.
Okay.
But I think, let's keep it on the subject of Star Wars. After
Kevin
this.
says
Let's-
$6.99.
$6.99.
Kevin, our number one fan, because he comments more than anyone else.
Let's talk
need more
about some of the
competitors with
score.
Kevin.
Let's talk about John Williams for a second. I want to
Sounds
talk
good.
a little bit
Love you,
about some
Kevin.
of the music.
We'll do that when we come back. You're listening to Comic Church on K Talk AM 1640. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic Church, leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, Pastor Drew the Fairy Godbrother, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, and the Reverend Sith Lord himself, Jesse Stay.
Welcome back to Comic Church, where anything is possible.
Could you see my nose hairs in the video?
No,
Gross.
that's gross. I pluck them.
I didn't get mine waxed this month.
I love waxing your nose and your ear hairs.
Really?
It is
With-
actually kind of
with
cool.
That wax, and then it's cold, and it's like
You put your popsicle sticks
Yeah.
in there.
It does feel good afterwards.
It
for
does.
Sure. During, it doesn't.
because in about you're 12, right? So in about 20 years, you'll know why.
Yeah. He already does a lot of pampering in the bathroom.
That's fine. But imagine a jungle, and it grows faster than you can pluck it.
You see this
There's
on
a
my chin
reason.
coming up?
There's a reason we have beards. It's because it hides our nose hairs.
Sometimes, but the worst part is when you have a mustache
Hair
curl
that
up.
goes
So like
into
every
your- Oh, that's
time you're
the
talking,
worst.
it's like up in your nose. It drives you absolutely up the wall, and you can't figure out which one it is. And yeah.
So
Be
music.
manly.
I love music.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, we could easily have a whole show about music and everything.
We have a few
But
musicians.
we're also very poor, so
Couple of us are
we're going to
musicians
describe
ourselves.
the music because we can't play it because
yeah, we can't play it
because of
and
licensing, but
I
also
should have brought
because
my
of
trumpet. I could play it for
because
you.
of that dang Facebook automated algorithm. If it
I'll
hears
play
it, will
Drew can
terminate our,
sing.
our stream. So,
So
we
we'll
don't wanna
probably
do that.
we'll probably break this up because there was a lot of breaking news that happened kind of this week. So there was a lot of information. There's a lot of things that I kind of wanted to talk about because I hadn't been here for a week or so. But just kind of to go off the topic of John Williams, when you think of like movies, I think music is a really important key to
It
a lot
is.
of really good music or movies.
It's essential, actually. I think
It-
if you watch a movie without music, unless it's specifically trying to like be creepy,
Oh yeah, there are movies.
Yeah,
Then there
the-
are movies like that. Porter just said A Quiet
Yeah.
Place, where
There's no music in that.
it's intentional, but the thing is that brings that a different part
yeah,
of suspense to it.
Well, there was also an episode on Buffy the Vampire Slayer where Buffy's mom Joyce dies.
Mm-hmm.
So when she finds her mom dead, there's no music for the rest of the episode.
Kevin says he lets
Oh,
his
really?
nose hairs go down into his mustache.
Oh, that's hot.
I like Kevin. Kevin, you should come back next week. We need Kevin more.
No,
I
but
promise.
music or the absence of music, it's essential to the storytelling to make it connects at such an emotional level.
Well, and that's the thing is like there's times, especially later in the evening, I'll turn on the captions and
Yes.
watch shows or something, and it's really interesting, and you'll kind of pick it up when you're just the tone of the music can bring the emotions into
Yeah.
what you're watching. I mean, when it's happy, there's
I think
there's fluttery music. I mean, and these are words that they've used: so fluttery music, or intense music, or joyous sounds. And
Yeah.
these are some of the things, and
And
so
I
it kind
think-
of brings that what you're supposed to feel
Yeah.
in that scene.
And I'm a musician. I play trumpet. I play with the Utah Philharmonic Orchestra with them, and I believe you have the combination of each instrument does tell a story. In fact, just a quick plug: we are doing a concert in a couple of weeks for Utah Philharmonic, where we do one piece called "The Composer is Dead," and it kind of tells the story in many ways. It's worth bringing your kids. It's a kid-friendly show. We've got another one called "They All Saw a Cat," which goes off of this book called "They All Saw a Cat," and also does similar. But the whole point of music is each instrument tells a story. Birds can the flutes can make bird sounds and bring out that fluttery bird and tweeting and light personality. The violins bring in the waltz dancey flavor. And this is all told in The Composer is Dead in many ways. But the French horns are from another land and play this French music
sounds like
but they all have their own personality.
A retelling of
Trumpets
Peter and the Wolf.
Fanfare.
That's
Peter and the
exactly
Wolf.
what
It
I was
is.
thinking.
It's very similar, but
That's why
those
Yeah.
are each of these songs are each of these pieces is showing that off in that the instruments do it. But I also believe there's an energetic component to it as well.
There is, and Kevin says it's huge music. Picture Jaws without the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones that I had brought up. I mean, there are some music or some themes that are so influential.
Da-da,
Like Porter just said. What say it on here?
da-da.
Impossible, Jurassic World, Indiana Jones, Jaws,
And Clueless.
and what he just said.
All John Williams.
John Wick.
Well, that's the
But
thing.
no,
The Candle.
music is, music is a, it's magical. It, in the sense that when you're watching the movie, and we can even go back to Plato's cave, the allegory of reality is just us watching shadow puppets on the wall.
Yeah.
And that's the basis of our reality. And so, when you're going into a movie, the lights are going dim, the projectionist is starting the projector, and for the next 2 hours, you're allowing yourself to go on a conscious journey, and we talk about this when we bring up Hero with 1,000 Faces, the epic journey, the mythology, I'm going to be the main character and suspend my reality and learn a moral lesson through the process of watching the movie. And music is one of the magical ingredients to toying with your emotions.
Well, I think it's an energetic transfer, and this is where I was getting with it. Is when I play trumpet, I am taking my internal energy and consciousness in many ways, and I am projecting that out based on the way I'm feeling, the things that I am experiencing. A lot of muscle memory goes with that, but it is every instrument in that orchestra or in that symphony is taking their internal energies and projecting that out in their own form. To create a unique piece. Every symphony and every piece is different, actually, and we hear the same melody, but when you go and watch different orchestras, different symphonies, different performers, you actually have a different experience despite it being the same song because you're getting different energies from each. And it's really I love, that's why I love performing.
And recognizing that we are creatures of frequency, and music is frequency, and it has the ability to change yours. And so one of the Sean and I were talking about this before, and there's a video going around. We couldn't find it, but I'll search for it and I'll share it again because anyways. But it brings up the fact that there are certain melodies. In fact, there's a single melody that has been used through most Hollywood films to invoke a feeling of despair or darkness or unease. And it's in Jaws, it's in Nightmare Before Christmas, it's in all these movies, and it actually originates as the melody line from a death mass.
Oh yeah,
from the 13th century. So it's
usually they come from Gregorian chants.
Da, da,
Yep. That one's from dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun,
that's a Gregorian
dun.
chant that comes from.
But
we're playing
Nightmare Before Christmas,
in The Composer is Dead
Christmas,
with Utah Philharmonic.
Da, 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 dum.
October 12th.
It says it's also in The Lion King,
Yeah.
The Shining, Wonderful Life. It's called Des Irae.
Yeah.
Translated from Latin to the Day of Wrath. It's a 13th century Gregorian chant describing the day Catholics believe God will judge the living and the dead and send them to heaven or hell. And it's used in one specific mass funeral.
And we are playing that in The Composer's Dead by Lemony Snicket with Utah Philharmonic on October 12th at 5 p.m. at the American Preparatory Academy, in fact.
And it's also
along with Alfred Hitchcock.
Once you reckon it,
actually Alfred
Hitchcock used that melody in a lot of his films.
Yeah.
Even George Lucas did. Star Wars. That melody is usually associated with Darth Vader or Anakin. It just different variations. Da 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 da. But that's what's.
I think
that's
Mozart even used it.
Oh yeah.
It says it in here that
it's been used over and over again since the 13th century.
Mozart's Requiem.
It's
not
attributed to Mozart.
Yeah.
It's a Requiem. It's a type of Catholic mass for the dead. It was originally written for mass, but later popularized and performed outside the church, as was Verdi's.
Share that.
Mozart made it popular, and then the other films all made it even more.
Put it in the comment section. So if you're following with us,
it's the hero with 1,000 faces in music form.
Well, and it's interesting though that so again, we're in the 21st century, so we're almost 8 centuries of having that melodic piece be like an emotional key to unlock despair and unease.
Yeah.
And it's when you really get down into it, I'd love to read a study on how frequency and different key changes and whatnot, how it invokes those emotional, energetic responses. And that's why I say it's almost magical.
Yeah.
It's almost it's so cool.
Yeah. You guys should all come and hear us perform, because it's exactly what this piece is that we're playing on the 26th.
Where is this at?
It's on the 12th. Sorry, it's Utah Philharmonic at American Preparatory Academy, which is
Utah County.
We're performing with some members of Westside Theater Company. They're narrating the Lemony Snicket part and another part of another song we're doing. It's October 12th from starting at 5 p.m.
Cool.
At American Preparatory Academy.
Oh, I know right where that is.
Yeah.
American Prep.
Yeah, it'll be a good concert. This is one of my favorite. I mean, I'd never heard it before, and it literally goes through. It frames it in the realm of a murder mystery of trying to figure out who killed the composer, and it goes through every single instrument within the orchestra, and each instrument has a part.
Piccolo
and it talks
players,
about the magic and the message in many ways. In
people
its own
who
way.
play the piccolo, they're crazy. They're crazy. I've never met a sane piccolo player. But Kevin said even popular music, Guardians of the Galaxy, would have been completely different movie without that soundtrack.
Yeah, and see, that's a lot of the stuff I have written down. I kind of wanted to bring some of those questions in for like maybe later on, because we don't have a ton. I mean, there's so much information in music and movies. I mean, one of my favorite movies besides like Guardians, because now every time I hear some of the music that is on that soundtrack, I only think of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I cannot think of or even remember, how important it was like before that movie was there. I mean, both soundtracks, 1 and 2, are just absolutely phenomenal. But one of my favorite movies that has kind of revolves around music is Baby Driver. Now,
Baby Shark, do. Go ahead.
Kind of. That song is not in it, but it's no.
And Facebook just cut us off. I'm just kidding. They didn't.
Now this movie, it's a soundtrack with a movie that flows around it. Mm-hmm. This is actually, it came about 2 years ago, and I think this is one of such a good movie. Everybody, you should watch it. But the movie, the tones, the music, everything that he does, he's listening to the headphones, and it goes with everything. And he's a bank robber. There's another. But think of some of the other ones. I mean, Oh Brother Where Art Thou is a great. That was one.
I was muted. That was a really good movie.
It won awards for the best soundtrack. And so and the movie was good. But the thing is, the movie wouldn't have been as good without the music.
No, I don't think it would have been. No.
Well, then there's other huge memorable music that was. There's music before, and then it was in this movie, and then it became so popular. Drew had mentioned The Never-Ending Story.
Oh yeah.
Now before we had mentioned it before on the show that the writer, they didn't even get like really permission, and so his like nephew or someone was like, "Hey, you've heard this song?" And he's like, "Yeah, I wrote that."
Well, yeah, it wasn't that it didn't get permission. It's just usually the songwriter, they let other companies handle their licensing and the checks just arrive.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, thank you, because all of a sudden his royalty checks were like, he was getting like, the 20 cents each month, or like, here's your $1.50, and some even music publishers.
And
will
then
send it
Stranger
to you.
Things had the song on their show,
and it's like I had a 3,000% increase on streams for my song like the next day.
I mean, there's songs and music like that. I mean, it was written for a never-ending story, but then there's other shows, Footloose, with Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
Where he had those songs before, and then this came out, and or look at
Top Gun.
I was just gonna say Top Gun. That whole music was out before, but because of the show, because of the movie,
Gotcha. Someone's gonna get you.
It became
Remember that?
so popular.
The movie Gotcha.
I don't remember
No?
that. No.
It was about.
Remember that either?
Was it?
Is that like right after Kids
was-
Incorporated or
was it-
something?
Laser tag or something like that? I can't remember, but it was.
I don't
But it was all based on the song Gotcha. Do you remember the song?
No.
Skip it.
Oh, it was
Best
big.
thing
It was
of
big back in
all.
the 80s.
There's a counter on the ball. Skip it.
See, and that's that's getting into
I miss the 80s and the 90s. Like,
music.
you know what? I grieve for you because you will not understand a reality like the 90s. It was like magic. Literally, like,
Well, Porter had mentioned some of the songs that he was asking, because when I was talking to him about this, when I was talking about music and movies and TV,
Yeah,
and stuff,
1985.
he said, "Well, what about Ninja Turtles?" And I said, "Well, that's like a theme song. That's like an intro to a music. I mean, that's like we could talk totally about that because that brings up whole different genres of it. I mean, because I can still remember the intro to like Thundercats, or half the song to the Ninja Turtles. I mean,
All right.
Spider-Man, Batman. I mean, there's a ton.
I've got homework for you, too. You need to go see Gotcha. That's a classic.
Okay.
And I'll read the description. Hapless with the ladies, college freshman Jonathan Moore played by Anthony Edwards, convinces his parents to pay for a European vacation, hoping he can lose his virginity overseas. In Paris, he meets 24-year-old Sasha Banachek.
can they even make movies like this anymore?
Played by Linda Florentina. It's a little
they're
corny,
National
but it's
Lampoon's
a
movies.
classic. A sexy Czech woman who invites him to accompany her to West Berlin. Sasha, desperate to get a roll of film to the CIA, gives Jonathan the package without telling him what's inside. Unaware of what he's carrying, Jonathan must elude the Soviet forces trailing him.
Cancel culture
a
would cancel that
classic
movie before it even got made.
1985 movie. You guys have got to
A
see
lot
it.
of these, so a lot of the music and stuff,
And it was written around that song,
so much
Gotcha.
more. One of the big ones, a lot of people is Unchained Melody, Ghost, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Or Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, that movie came out before. And then
Sleepless in Seattle.
Wayne's World.
Sleepless in Seattle brought that
Paintball. It was around paintball. That's what it was.
that When I Fall in Love song back.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, so when we come back from break, I'm going to give I found a list of the 35 top most iconic movie songs of all time. Now, kind of be thinking, what do you think? Think of a couple and let's see if they're on your list. On this list. This is just a list that I found on Insider. So yeah, I don't think Jitterbug's on there.
Darn it. Zoolander did make that song pretty popular. But we'll be talking about more of that on Comic.Church right here on K-Talk, AM 1640, real local 2A Comic Talk.
Welcome back, comic fans. We now return to Comic Church leaving you right where we left off before the break. And now here's your host, the Monsignor of Marvel, Sean Ray, Pastor Drew, the Fairy Godbrother,
Brian Adams with
and the
everything
Reverend
we do, I
Sith
do
Lord
for you.
himself, Jesse Stay.
Look into my
And now,
eyes,
Comic.Church.
and you will see what
Stop
you mean
singing
to
in the microphone.
me.
Drew.
See, and
Now
that was
that-
even
yeah.
on the CD. They had a bonus where he did the music video of it, and he was in Sherwood Forest, and then the leaves
yeah.
are falling. It was great. I love. See, that's a great one. Yeah. So I want to go over the 35 of the most iconic movie songs of all time.
Okay.
Let me know if you hear of any songs that you
Ooh, Michael
might
Jackson,
be on here,
80s.
Thriller.
or any songs that you think should be.
80s.
But is that in a movie?
It's 80s.
It was a movie.
Well,
I'm just
his
saying.
music
I'm just
video
saying.
was
We're
a
having the
movie, yeah.
conversation about the 80s. Michael Jackson came out of 80s. Mostly.
No, some
Mostly.
people would debate Jackson 5. He since the 60s.
Well, it came out early, but his
Where he
came was the 80s.
So let's start off.
Aerosmith when they did the
Armageddon. Yeah, see, that might be
Yep.
on here. Let's
Okay.
see. So we did mention Footloose by Kenny Loggins.
Do you know what was really sad though? This last week they painted
The Roller Mills?
The roller mills. They painted
I didn't
over
even
the
notice
logo.
because I usually drive around.
Yeah, they
before
painted it
the-
all white.
Oh, really?
It should be a crime against
Yeah.
humanity.
Footloose actually filmed here in Utah, in Lehigh. I went to
Can we do like one of the
church.
cup things over the freeway that gives some Comic.Church tribute to Footloose? Next to Lehigh
Kevin
Roller
brought up
Mills.
one. If I
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna
Bodyguard.
say it.
Whitney Houston.
that might shut us off. Yeah, Bodyguard.
So here's another one. Here's number 34
Will always.
from Batman Forever. Do you remember
Which one?
Batman Forever.
Oh,
This was back in 94
Oh, that was the best.
by a singer
That was
named
Seal.
Seal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kiss from a Rose.
That's
Yeah.
right. Because I was working at Wild Rivers in Irvine, California,
Oh.
the water park, and that song would play about every 5 songs.
I
It would
danced
come
with a
back on
lot
the
of girls
radio.
to that song.
Here you go, Kevin. You were right. Right here. From The Bodyguard, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You.
What number?
Yeah.
Number 33 was
Only
it?
33.
Let's see. What,
I was a DJ back then for church dances and weddings. And those were all my classic slow music songs.
Yeah.
You had some good ones anywhere from Alabama's Angels Among Us. I don't know. Was that in a movie?
I'm sure.
I don't know.
Yes. Fallen Angel.
Yeah.
Oh,
With-
beaches.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
was- is that okay?
It might be on here. I don't know.
There's got to be Tim McGraw on there.
You think so?
I guarantee
So-
him and or it was I swear has got to be on there.
So
Her Royal
the
Highness
next one
Brett
down-
Midler.
Either him or what's the other band's name? The boy band that sung
Bodyguard
I
was
Swear.
out in 92.
Um,
Say the next one is Lady Marmalade, Christina Aguilera, Pink, Lil' Kim, Maya, and Missy Elliott from Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
Which actually, I think that was the best thing that came out of that movie.
That was
It
like one of
was.
the last ones of the 90s.
That was the only thing that came out of the movies.
Porter's mom. That was one of her favorite shows, and I couldn't ever.
No
find
doubt
myself
it's got to
to
be on
watch
there
it.
somewhere.
The next one after that is from Manure, Despicable Me 2.
Yeah.
Can you think of it?
I didn't see it, so I don't know.
Well, you've heard the song by Pharrell Williams, "Happy."
Oh,
That wasn't 90s. Or are we not talking 90s? We're just talking about
These are of all time.
movie
all time.
songs.
Movie
Okay.
songs.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you got a
When I saw Despicable Me, I thought that the happier came from that. Like they got people to sing it because it was really good with the song.
And it
It
went.
was happy.
Yeah.
Sad.
And it went perfectly along with it.
How about you got a friend in me?
It could be on here.
It's got to be on there.
Because that was made before. But here's another one by the Bee Gees. Staying Alive.
Ah,
Of course,
Saturday Night
that's my
Fever,
theme
yeah.
song.
That's
I
gotta
like the
be on there.
entrance version better, but
Here's one
speaking of 90s,
from Wizard of Oz, which
Her
We
Royal
talked
Highness
about it.
Judy
Judy
Garland, Summer
Over
of
the
the Rainbow.
Rainbow.
Yes.
yeah. And then here's a different one. I didn't think this one too
how about
much.
Singing
but
in the Rain?
8 Mile. 8 Mile Eminem,
Oh, yeah.
Lose Yourself.
Yep. What was that Christina
That
Aguilera
Singing in
one?
the Rain.
Mulan. Reflection.
Reflection might be on here. So here's you had mentioned Beaches.
Yes.
Wind Beneath My Wings by Bette Midler.
Yes. Sean, did you ever know that you're my hero?
Or Celine Dion from Titanic.
We'll get to that one. That one's gotta be on here.
I can fly higher than an
what's the name
eagle
of it?
because you're the wind beneath my wings.
My mind's blank.
So, and then The Breakfast Club.
I know.
The Breakfast Club.
Oh yes.
Don't You Forget About Me by the Simple Minds.
St. Elmo's Fire.
Don't you
That's a good one too.
forget about me.
Let's go to the next one after that. Men in Black, Will Smith. Men in Black. I would have thought Getting Jiggy with It.
How about
Men in Black was good.
Turtle Power? TURTLE
Vanilla Ice.
Power.
Yeah.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Call the Ghostbusters and you get control.
That's actually Ghostbusters probably on there. I would bet Ghostbusters is on there.
By She's All That. Sixpence None the Richer.
Okay.
Kiss Me. Let's go through some of these.
There's
real quick.
got to be
Singing in
some.
the
I learned to
Rain,
play the
Gene Kelly.
accordion because of that song.
The next one, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Aerosmith, Armageddon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moon River by Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Moon River.
Flashdance, What a Feeling by Irene Cara. Cara, C-A-R-A. I don't know.
Footloose.
When You Wish Upon a Star.
Oh, of
Cliff
course.
Edwards, Pinocchio. I've Had the Time of My Life by Bill Medley and Jennifer Warren's Dirty Dancing.
Brought to you by
Beauty.
Sandals Beach Resorts.
Beauty and the Beast, Angela Lansbury.
Yeah.
These are all the songs
What number
I used
was
to
that
play
one?
at my church dances when I was DJing.
Let me. It's hard because they don't have numbers. But I'm trying to figure out. Let's see which one's which.
That's all right. We don't need to
'Cause once I get
mathematize you.
closer to the other ones,
You name any Disney musical of the '90s, their main songs would be
after
in there
after
somewhere.
Beauty and the Beast
the
is
Lion King one.
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
yeah.
And Can You Feel
And
the
Can
Love
You
Tonight?
Feel the Love
Can You Feel
Tonight?
the Love
They're
That
both
one
the
was
same
played at
one.
every high school dance. Yeah, that was a.
What about the one from Hunchback?
Gangster's Paradise by Coolio and Dangerous
Yeah.
Minds.
Gangsters. Yeah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious by Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins.
How about Amish Paradise? Is it on there?
When Doves Cry and Purple Rain by Prince. Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. Let Go, Frozen. Idina Menzel. Fame by Irina Cara. Eye of the Tiger by the
Yeah.
Survivors in Rocky 3. Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel in The Graduate. Now, The Graduate came up in a lot of lists as, best music, best soundtrack. Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr.
I was gonna say Ghostbusters got to be on there.
Here's a newer one, Can't Stop the Feeling by Justin Timberlake in The Trolls. Take My Breath Away by Berlin. Top Gun. That's instantly. Here's number 2.
I wonder how many kids were conceived to that
by
song.
Top Gun. Here's number 2, Skyfall by Adele in Skyfall. And, oh no, that was number 3. This is number 2. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Boom. Ferris
Ferris Bueller's
Bueller.
Day Off. And then, of course, the number 1 movie, soundtrack song is "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion in the Titanic. Now, those are a couple more. I want you guys to kind of think. Maybe we can talk a little bit.
Mos
more.
Eisley's Cantina was not in there. Oh, I am
That has
offended.
its own genre of. It's called Jizz music.
What?
Okay?
Jizz music?
It's called Jizz music.
Huh.
It's got its own genre.
It plays
'Cause
at the Cantina.
My mom
in
got mad at
Disney.
me one time for quit saying that. I'm like, Mom, that's a type of music. I promise.
Alexa, play Jizz music.
Oh my gosh, no.
You just had everyone.
Explain it.
You just had a whole bunch of people's Alexa Amazon Echoes.
And for you Apple people out there, hey Siri,
Hey.
play Jizz music.
Did you hear that?
That's why I use Google Home.
Samuel L. Jackson is going to have a
Yeah, through series going
an
on.
Alexa So you can download his Alexa app, and he will talk to you. And there's a clean version and a dirty version.
I want the dirty version.
Oh,
I want
is
the
that
dirty version.
available
Why
now?
can't Google Home
Not yet.
have?
yet.
It's
okay.
only for Alexa.
Why can't Google Home have this?
Because Google's the devil.
So
like Google.
maybe next week we can talk a little
I
bit
am the
more
devil,
about
though.
some of the music. But I want you to think about what's an influential song or movie or something that, or a type of a theme that, is kind of important in music. Because, like I said, there's Baby Driver, Guardians of the Galaxy was said, Saturday Night Live, Dirty Dancing. These are some of the things that you hear the songs and it makes you think of the movie now. And that, like Top Gun, I cannot hear that song without thinking of it. Unchained Melody, I cannot hear that song without thinking of Ghost. Now, what are some of the other ones that you guys can think of? And you too, bring a topic up in Bible studies group in the Comic.Church.
And if you're not
And talk about
in
it.
the group, it's connected to our Facebook page, petertingle.org, if you're just coming towards us. But go down to our community and join our Bible study group, because we pass. We're doing a lot of funny memes and inspirational whatnots and stuff.
Go on there, share, enjoy it. Bring up some of the music information, questions that you have, songs that you think need to be on there.
Do you know what you should do for the Bible study group? You should create a playlist of Jizz music.
I'll put Unchained Melody on there and Take My Breath Away. All performed by the Cantina Band.
This show brought to you by PeterJizz.org.
No,
Peter
Peter
Tingle.
Tingle.
Tingle. Oh,
Although
sorry,
we
I'm
might,
mixing it up
maybe
now.
we should go buy that domain too.
Gotta get that one too.
So
True.
Think about that for next week. We'll talk some more. We're going to see Joker this week. Well, I will see Joker this week. We could talk about
Make
that.
sure you
I
wear
can't dress
battle
up,
rattle.
and I got to be careful because
I don't know. Have you,
there's
so
some big theories.
have you
and
heard
worries
with
about people?
the Joker movie?
I heard some things about it.
So there was a security alert that the military's put
A
out
lot of
to
people are
all
getting
their
mad about it.
bases. Well, but it's a legitimate security alert.
Huh.
Apparently, incels. These are the. I don't even know how to describe them without using derogatory
Jacks.
terms.
A's.
Anyways, the incels, the ones that, anyways, they're saying that this movie might inspire some to do a mass shooting event in theaters that similar to inspired by the Aurora, Colorado shooter who shot up the Dark Knight movie. And so there was a security alert saying, if you're going to go to this movie, make sure you know where the exits are. You
cannot wear cosplay,
no costumes.
no
Yeah,
costumes.
And
Wow.
that's what's sad. These
Sounds like a bunch of fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
these people, because of their inability to deal with things, are basically ruining it for the rest of us. Like, how horrible is it that you can't go to a movie without having to think through the whole time?
Are they-
when is this place going to get shot up?
Are they
If
going
somebody
to
drops
pat people down or,
I don't
or
know.
provide
Like,
metal
There's been
detectors?
times
Can
I
I
do
wear?
that.
Can I
That's
conceal
just
carry
PTSD.
to this?
Well, it is PTSD, but now there's a legitimate threat, so it will make the PTSD even worse. Like, we can't enjoy freaking movies anymore. That's what
Yeah.
If I conceal
Yeah.
carry, am I going to get caught at this?
probably.
I don't think they're going to pat you down before you go in, but
It's
don't
technically illegal because most movie theaters say no guns, but I think most
Unless it's
concealed
a
carry holders.
unless it's a
The secret language of concealed carry holders is half of them wear them in those things anyway.
well, my whole thought is you'll be thanking me later when I need it,
Yeah.
so I don't.
But we're coming to a close. Let's try to end on a positive.
What is some uplifting type of music? And that's the thing is, to me, music brings in a mood to me.
It does.
If I'm in a good mood, I can listen to some uplifting music, and it'll just make that a better mood. A better
Yeah.
day.
Well, there's just so much. Like, I can start with who are my favorite composers. John Williams up at the top.
Oh, by far.
Things like the E.T. Suite. That if I'm in a
Hans
bad
Zimmer.
mood, I would put that on and it totally lifts me up. It puts me back to being an 8-year-old watching that movie again. Hans Zimmer's
Puts
a
me
great
in
one.
mood of playing the songs.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's
that's-
Hans
whole
Zimmer's a
different
great
thing.
one. James Horner is another great one.
That's the thing. Music can bring you out of a funk.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
But it
can
also
also
put
put
you
you
in
into a
one.
funk. So if
Yeah.
you're in a bad mood, don't be listening to some like death metal, heavy metal or
Go play it.
Unless that's what you
Go play
do.
the music. Sing it.
Learn to play.
That's the way to get out of the funk.
Or it's an outlet. But yeah, music is such a powerful tool because it can take control of your emotions and take you on a journey. And a lot of times, that's the best thing you could do.
And that's why they
Yeah.
do it in music and in movies. Is it controls the emotions in the music in the movie.
It's a projection of someone else's reality.
My reality. I am the projectionist. And you're listening to Comic.Church on K-Talk AM 1640, real local 2A comedy talk. Y'all have
PeterTingle.org.
Enough said.
have a
I know.
good week. We'll see you next week.